Hey, this is Vivian Campbell, and you're on Backstage Access, where the real show begins.
Hey, this is Chris with Backstage Access, and we have guitar great Vivian Campbell here with us today from Last in Line and, of course, Def Leppard. Well, hello, Vivian. Welcome to Backstage Access. We're glad to have you here with us today.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Now, before we begin, it would be remiss of me not to inquire about your health. So how are you feeling? Are you still in treatment?
I am still doing treatment. I'm doing immunotherapy. We've been doing it for almost 2 years now. It's the latest and greatest in medical science. So it's taking a drug called pembrolizumab, which is a monoclonal antibody and the same stuff that cured Jimmy Carter's melanoma. So all good.
Okay.
I'm happy to say that's the least of my concerns. It's just maintenance.
Great. Sounds promising, and please know that everyone here at Backstage Access wishes you the best as you continue with this battle.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So let's talk about Last in Line, the Heavy Crown record. I really, really love that record, especially the songs Star Maker and Burn This House Down, and especially your guitar work on those tracks. How did you kind of achieve that real Dio era feel again for that album?
Well, it's just that's naturally how it comes out, There was nothing premeditated about it, really. We approached writing and recording that record in the same way that we had recorded the early Dio records with Ronnie. We just tried to keep it very, very simple, very organic. But that generally is the sound. When I play that kind of music, and when I play with Vinny Appice and when I play with Jimmy Payne, that's the sound we make,
Right.
The only difference was obviously the singer. Andrew's very, very different from Ronnie. He's got a whole different tonality in his voice.
Sure.
But he's a very powerful singer, like Ronnie was, so he can sing on top of the racket that we make, But we just tried to keep it really, really simple. We just went in and wrote songs in exactly the same way that we had written songs for the Holy Diver album. We just go in and kick around some riffs, and Ronnie would come in and sing a melody on top, and then we'd go record it. I mean, it just sounds very straightforward because that's how it was, and that's exactly the approach we took with a Heavy Crown record, and we're very, very pleased with the results, But there is a sound that musicians have, individually and collectively, and when you put the components together, that creates the sound of the band, and the original Dio band just had that certain sound.
Sure. Now, are you working on a follow-up to Heavy Crown yet?
We are actually, and when I'm done with this interview and another couple I have this morning, I'm heading down to rehearsal.
Okay.
We've been working on songs. We got a lot of great ideas for it already. It's been a bittersweet sort of an experience, this whole thing, because obviously we lost Jimmy Payne.
Right.
A month before the Heavy Crown record came out last year. And, Jimmy was so much a big part of this, and it was really difficult to consider going on without him. But, after a while we decided to do that. And we've been very fortunate that Phil Suzanne was able to work with us on this, and Phil was also a friend of Jimmy's and a peer of his, and plays in a very, very similar style, and really kind of understands the ethos of this band and the sound that we're going for, and the writing style that we have. So I'm happy to report that it's been working out really, really well with Phil and the band.
Great. Now, do we have an expected date yet for the new record, or is it just starting out?
Well, that's the thing. We wanted to keep. We worked with Jeff Pilson as producer on Heavy Crown, and Jeff was absolutely. He's a great producer, and he was so perfect for this project. So we wanted to work with Jeff again. Fortunately, the schedule with Def Leppard and Jeff's schedule with Foreigner, it's going to be September before we can actually go into the studio to make a record. I would say we've probably got about 2/3 of the record written already, but like I say, it's going to be September before we can start to record. So I'm looking at an early 2018 release for it.
Okay, sounds good. Now, Last in Line has some dates coming up out on the road, and you have a date here at a new venue in downtown Buffalo called Venue. Do you have any special stories or memories of all the tour stops you've done in Buffalo throughout the years?
You know, the last decade that I've been playing in Buffalo, we always played Darien Lake with Def Leppard, you know?
Right.
That big old white tent. So it's just been a very different sort of a show. You know, I remember, you know, the original Dio band, we played a lot of shows up around the Northeast, you know, because Ronnie was from upstate New York and was very, very popular up there. But I do feel like there's a real support for this band on the East Coast, you know, and it's taken us a long time to get there. We're based on the West Coast, and you know, for reasons of economics and logistics, it's just a lot easier to play out here on the West Coast.
Sure.
But you know, we've had so many requests from all over the country, you know, to play, and specifically from the East Coast and the Northeast, and it'll be nice to actually be able to fulfill that to some extent, you know.
Yes, we're looking forward to it. Now, in addition to the Heavy Crown album, will you be playing any of the Dio classics at the show?
Absolutely, yeah. We did a bunch of shows in Europe in November and December last year, and we really honed the set. We really got it to where the band was really on form, and you know, we're happy to say that the Heavy Crown songs that we do play, and we do like to feature a lot of that record because the band is a new band and it's vital that we perform the new music, but it fits in very, very well with the early Dio classics, you know, and it's kind of a seamless transition in that way. So that's been good. Yeah, you can expect a lot. There's a lot of the early Dio stuff, you know. We obviously really, really enjoy playing that, so it's fun to play it alongside the songs from Heavy Crown.
Absolutely. Now, a lot of classic rock bands don't put out new music. They kind of just rely on their past albums and hits to kind of carry them through. But obviously with Last in Line, you're making new music, and Def Leppard had a new album out, not quite, I think, 2 years ago in 2015. What's your take on this, that these bands that refuse to put anything new out there?
Well, I mean, it's understandable on one hand because no matter how good your new music is, it's almost impossible to get it to people's ears. It's never going to have the ubiquity that classic rock has, you know, because radio doesn't exist in the same way that it used to be back in the 80s,
sure.
Or even the 90s, you know, and so that support structure is no longer there to bring new music to people's ears. You know, radio is very much rock radio is very much kind of stuck in a rut of playing classic, you know, at least terrestrial rock radio, commercial radio, and so there's not really that support system for new music. So I can see how, you know, many classic rock bands wouldn't be very motivated to bother to put out new music, but I personally believe that it's vital for the integrity of a band, and it's like exercising a muscle. You know, if you don't exercise it, you can't use it or lose it. You know, so I do think that it's important, even if it's just a personal exercise in futility. You know, and that ethos is shared, you know, with all the guys in Last in Line, and indeed with Def Leppard. I mean, it's always been very important, you know, with Joe in particular, with Leppard, that we continue to put out new music, that just because it validates our existence, you know, as creative musicians and as creative humans. Sure,
the need to keep creating has to be there all the time, I would think.
Exactly. I mean, that's the desire that makes you able to go out there and play those classic songs with fire and conviction, you know. I mean, if you're just in that rut where you're just doing that and nothing else, it's, you know, you're not going to play it with the same passion.
Right. Now, Def Leppard's going to be hitting the road this spring with Poison and Tesla, and you're starting a little bit earlier than usual, so I'm curious as to why the tour's headed off to such an early start this time out.
Well, this is really just an extension of last summer's tour in many ways, you know. You know, we normally do tour of the summer, and the summer is the time that most bands take it on the road in America. We've done that for the past several years, and we had significant interest after last summer where promoters wanted to continue the tour, but we weren't able to at that time, hence doing it this way. And we kind of, it's a different kind of approach for us, but we're going indoors on a lot of these shows. You know, normally in the summer you play the amphitheaters, like I said, like Darien Lake, the outside places.
Right.
So we're actually going indoors, and not on all of these shows, but the majority of them, I believe, are indoor arena shows. So it actually is better for your production when you play indoors. You know, it makes it a little bit more vibrant, and it is different from last summer's tour in so far as we have Poison with us. You know, we still have Tesla, but the middle act has changed, you know, so that'll make it a little bit different.
Okay. Now, Def Leppard also has some big festivals coming up. I know at Carolina Rebellion and Rocklahoma. Do you enjoy performing in that kind of crazy festival atmosphere?
I do, actually. I love it. It's out of our comfort zone, and it sort of challenges you a bit more, you know. I love doing all sorts of shows. I mean, anything that breaks the routine is exciting to me, you know, be it a theater show or, like, say, a festival show or a television special or something, you know, always kind of Groundhog Day, you know, so it keeps it interesting, and that's also a big part of the reason why I pursue projects like Last in Line. You know, I really enjoy the intimacy of playing in clubs and playing that kind of music again. You know, it's really challenging to me as a guitar player, and it really makes me feel alive. So, and you know, with my cancer diagnosis of recent years, you know, I really kind of delve way back into my original passion and try to find the original spark that made me start when I was a teenager, and that was playing very aggressive rock music, you know, really focusing on my guitar playing. So in many ways, you know, this whole Last in Line project has really helped to motivate me to fight this battle.
That's fantastic. Now, I had another question for you. The Dio hologram has recently made its debut here in the States. What are your thoughts on that, and how do you think these holograms will affect touring in the future?
I don't know. I have no personal experience of it. I've never seen it.
Okay.
Or any of them, for that matter. So I don't really know. You know, I guess I'd have to reserve judgment until I see it, hear it, experience it in a live environment. But you know, it's certainly, you know, technology changes a lot of things in our lives, and you know, it's possible that who knows? I mean, you know, maybe we'll be on stage with Ronnie again, in some way, in some shape. You know, we just do what we do. You know, we're not at that level where we could ever do anything like that. So it's never been something that we've seriously thought about.
Right. Fair enough. Now, I know that you're a big supporter of rescue dogs and supporting shelters. And could you tell us a little bit about your dog, Stu, and how that's going?
Stuart, the small dog, yeah. Well, he's here now, yeah. He shares, you know, brings a little bit of love everywhere he goes. I walked over to Starbucks this morning for a cup of coffee, and it's amazing. You walk around this place, and everyone smiles at him, you know. So dogs are good that way. They bring a little bit of love into a world that needs a lot of love right now. So he's a great dog, you know. He's just a little rescue dog. My wife found him online, and he was about to be put down, and so we took a chance on him, and you know, there's a saying about rescue dogs that you don't really rescue them, they rescue you. I think it's very true.
Absolutely, you know? Absolutely. We're all big dog people here at BackstageAxxess, so we're glad to hear that you are also, and that your Stu has found a great loving home with you and your wife.
Oh, he's very lucky. Yeah, he hit the jackpot. Rockstar dog.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. Again, Heavy Crown is a fantastic record, and we're definitely looking forward to the follow-up to that, and to seeing you guys out on the road with Last in Line and Def Leppard very soon.
Well, thank you. Likewise, I'm thrilled to be doing this, and you know, I'm enjoying my work more than I ever have.
That's awesome to hear.
Over the decades, so yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'll see you all then.